Okay. I wanted to make this video just as kind of an introduction for guitar for you. Um, Turn that monitor off. Just as kind of like, yeah, an introduction because it's hard to figure out where you want to start at, especially when you're um, looking at, especially if you're watching YouTube. There can be a lot of information that's hard to get a hold of. Um, and usually they'll throw a lot at you in general. You know, you're gonna hear a lot of different ideas and terminology. Um, I wanted to give you like a just some stuff that you can look at early on and kind of get a hold of and just hopefully it'll get you started. Um, I don't know what kind of music you're into or if the guitar even applies, you know. Um, but to me, it's just I have a passion for music, so I find it fun and challenging, and that's kind of how I see it. You know, especially with the more extreme stuff. A lot of the stuff that they play, it's um, it's fun to figure out and to try to get a hold of. Um, Anyways, so start with posture. Um, pretty pretty basic idea. Posture and hand placement. Oh, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna fuck this up. Posture and hand placement. Right. Um, Two very straightforward things. Um, so two ways to sit. Right. You have this guy, and then you have this guy. Right. These are the two ways you'll see people sitting and playing guitar. This is how I sit in the classical position. It's easier on my wrists, probably because, I just have such long arms. Um, there's nothing wrong with this one. I would say that this guy's wrist is a little fucked up. This may be like an AI picture. But, I do not recommend, sitting with your wrist cocked like that. It's just not smart, you know. Um, anyways, so yeah, those two ways, right? Um, Actually, let me just go ahead and exit out of that. I'll show you where to place your hand, how to place your hand. Let me get it on camera. Um, so as far as like your fretting hand, it's all kind of up to you. If you see naturally, I kind of let my hand sit like this. I have long fingers and wide hands. So naturally, it's more comfortable for me like this. Um, I just hold my hand out, take the crook of my hand, stick it on the back, right? And I let my hand, or I let my thumb, really, I let my thumb drift, kind of wherever. And you'll see that as I go down, my hand kind of naturally goes in line with the neck. Um, I play like this a lot. Um, this is more of grabbing chords. I'll have my hand almost gripping, if I want to grab chords. And then if I want to play more technical, typically my thumb will drift down and my hand will become more in line with the neck, right, rather than at an angle. Like this, I have more stretching ability and I can reach the strings a little better. Um, but yeah, right. So you have kind of two positions. You kind of have the hand at a slant, then you have the hand parallel to the neck, right? So one, two, right. As far as it goes with the picking hand, um, the one thing I would say is don't let your arm drift over the top of the body too far, and don't bring it back too far. Right, just try to find that point at which your elbow is kind of resting on the back side of the body, and your hand naturally finds a position on an acoustic over the sound hole. Right, you want a position over the sound hole. Um, Let me double check something. Okay, we are recording. Um, so that's basically it. Um, the pick. As far as the pick is concerned, I hold it different than most people. Not most people. I don't hold it different than most people. I This is how most people hold, right? They pretend like um they've got a pencil. Um, Try to find like something that's nice for you. Basically, I curl my finger and press my thumb to my first finger, and that is naturally, right? That's naturally how I find the grip itself. Um, pick e- Pick exposure is kind of, I mean, it's up to you, really. I leave a little bitty bit out, and that's just me personally. But I've seen a lot of great players that play, with a ton of the pick sticking out. Um, but once again, it's up to you. If you feel like you want to point your fingers and, you know, that's how you play, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're not fucking up your wrists, you want to be as loose as possible, relaxed as possible. Okay, so two more things in the basics area, right? It'd be warm ups and tablature. We're going to talk about both those at the same time. Um, so this is tablature. All right, let me get rid of this over here. This is tablature. Um, don't worry about what's up here. This is just rhythmic notation. There's really no it has its place, but I don't recommend it right now. Eventually you'll learn about it, but this tablature is basically how um, modern. It's like music for dummies. We'll just say that, right? It's just music for dummies. Um, and how we read it is this bottom line. We have 6 lines here, right, on the grid, and each one represents a string. The bottom line is the thickest string, and the top line is the thinnest string. So it's a 6 to 1, 1 to 6, however you might want to say it to yourself, right? It's just thick to thin and thin to thick, right? Um, and your numbers are going to be your fret, uh, fret number, right? So we'll go to the guitar real quick. Um, so like on the tablature, it says 9. So if we look, hang on. So if we're looking at the guitar, right, each fret is your fret wire that cuts across the guitar, right? And basically we have the open position, and then it starts at 1, goes up to 12, goes up to 12 at the double dot, and then maybe not on the acoustic, but on mine obviously it goes again. It goes again up to 24. Um, but uh, anyways, the first dot is your third, second dot is fifth, third dot is 7, fourth that's 9, and then the fifth is the double dot of 12, right? So real quickly, once again, at the tablature, we've got 9, 10, 11, 12, and that just repeats, right? So for this warm up, you can do this. I do this before I pick up a guitar, right? I do a lot of different warm ups, but this is usually the first one you learn all together, right? So, and we're gonna start on the ninth fret, and we're gonna use all 4 fingers to hit these 4 frets, right? So, back on the guitar. Right, pretty straightforward exercise. Nothing too fancy. I recommend when you're starting out, just pick and downstrokes, right? Eventually you'll learn about alternate picking, and eventually there's economy picking as well. But for now, just pick down, right? And essentially all you want to do right now, it doesn't matter if it sounds ugly or not, but while you are playing, do your best to just focus on making a clean sound, um, and making sure that you don't have to be in time. But if you want to pick up a metronome, there's nothing wrong with that. For now, you just want to work on making it clean, right? You want to make everything just sound nice and clean. Um, if we look at the guitar again, so essentially this exercise uses all four fingers, right? I'm just going up and down the neck, right? And you can start with the first finger and go to the pinky, right? And do it again going back down, right? Or you can go from the pinky to the first finger, right? And then go back down again, right? So this one specifically is only limited to your imagination, right? So you can play the first finger to the pinky, and then the next two fingers, right? Right. I'm just kind of fucking around. But anyways, you're kind of only limited in the way you travel and which fingers you use. As long as you use all four fingers, right? So you can go play all four and then go up a fret and then play all four again, up a fret, play all four again on the next string, right? So that you can travel wherever you want and play this little like chromatic exercise, and the idea applies of the warm up, right? Next, we'll look at a scale. So you can kind of think of scales as like this umbrella, and the umbrella, uh, from scales you build chords, from chords you build progressions, and then you reintroduce scales for melodies and leads. It's all kind of intermingled, beyond that, we're going to look at one scale. It's going to be the major scale. And this is the one that everybody starts with, because it's no sharps and flats. On the piano, it's all the white keys. Um, so let's go to the tablature, right? And here is the C major scale, right? So we're going to go to the fifth string, which is the second thickest, right? We're going to start on the third fret, right? 3 to 5. We're going to go up a string to a thinner string, which would be the fourth string. 2, 3, 5. We're going to do that again. Now we're going to play 2, 4, 5, right? And there's your whole scale. All right, so let's take a look at the guitar. Right, there you have it. Pretty straightforward. Once again, nothing too fancy. We start on a C and we end on a C, right? Um, Once again, just try to make it clean. Um, if you want to think about the notes, right? We just go, let's look at the notes again, right? You just say C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right? So if we're looking at the guitar, it's C, D, right? E, F, G, A, B, C, right? Forgot to mention that my guitar is going to sound different than yours. Um, that's because I'm tuned down 2 steps, right? I'm tuned way down. Um, so don't mind if it sounds kind of strange, right? Um, Once again, from the major scale or from any scale, you can build chords. So we're going to look at relatively easy chords. Um, and don't worry about these minor, right, or the major. That's not really important right now. What is important is just getting a hold of these chords and using them, right? Um, but just for terminology's sake, right? When it comes to the C major scale, E, A, all right, are minor, right? E and A are minor, um, or E, F, and A are minor, right? Sorry, I'm wrong there. It's actually D, E, and A are minor. Um, anyways, uh, we're gonna look at these three chords. So, three chords right here, right? So we have the open string on the sixth, the second fret on the fifth and fourth strings, and then the open string on the third, right? So we'll look at the guitar, right? So essentially, I'm just going to take my middle finger, second fret, fifth string, my ring finger, second fret, fourth string, right? And I'm just going to try to play those top four strings, right? That's all the sound you want right there. You can play the whole thing, and it doesn't sound bad. Um, but getting used to just striking where you want to strike, it it's important, right? Um, Next one, A minor, open on the fifth, second fret on the fourth and third, and then the first fret on the second string. Take a look at it. So I'm just going to put my middle finger on the second fret, third string, or sorry, fourth string, my ring finger on the third string, right? And then I'm going to sneak my first finger on the first fret, second string, right? And I just want to hit those four strings, starting from the fifth string to the second. You should get a nice minor sound. Once again, playing E to A, right? And that's a fourth change, right? You'll hear some different terminology. Just I'm trying to expose it to you right now. um, Finally, we're gonna do a. It can be difficult, because especially if you're new, right? We're gonna do a B major, right? So, uh, second fret, fifth string, fourth fret on the fourth and third string, and then the third fret on the second string, right? Now, looking on the guitar, this is going to take a little bit of stacking, right? It's probably going to be an awkward position, right? Because I'm going to be holding my hand kind of like this, right? So, start with the middle finger, third fret, second string, stack on the next two, and then finally your first finger goes on the second fret, fifth string, right? Once again, middle finger on the third fret, stack the next two, and then your first finger, right? Um, I don't know how difficult it'll be to squeeze on that guitar. I thought I put the action down pretty well, um, but right here it is, right? B major. Sorry, that's wrong. That's B major. Let's go in here and fix this. B major. So, oh, that might be tough. um, so try the B minor first, right? So this is actually a B minor chord. But if you really want a challenge, you can do the B major, right? I'm going to put my first finger down. I'm going to take my ring finger and just bar the rest of the strings, right? I like to put my pinky next to my ring finger, and it helps me like press for some reason, right? B major, B minor. Sorry about that. Um, but we have these three chords. Right, they should sound pretty nice together. Um, so I'm going to leave it up for a second, right, so you can pause it. But if there's too much information already, then stop the video, right? Because we're going to do some music theory right now. Um, and the rest of this video, it's probably just be a little bit of a lecture. So going forward, I recommend that you research intervals. Intervals are the most important, other than rhythm, intervals are the most important part of music, in my opinion. How you use the intervals and how you play them off of each other, um, and how you build chords is all based on intervallic theory, right? Um, so essentially, interval is just the space between the notes of a scale, and the relation between those two notes, right? So if we go in here, right, and I wanted to say, right, let me change this, okay? All of these notes, right, we could also say it like this, okay? We could also say it like that. This is how you'll see it almost 90% of the time. You'll also see it like this sometimes. Um, and I would not worry. This is really just there because I want you to see that we denote each note of the scale with a number, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Uppercase and lowercase just represents major and minor, right? So we have our major chords, we have our minor chords, right? Which would be the 2 and the 3 and the 6. Um, but the relationship between these notes, right, from the 1 to the 4 to the 5, right, that is a progression. That is a relationship, right? If I play the 1 and the 5 together, right, that's how we get an E minor chord. We have the first note of the scale, the fifth note of the scale, the eighth, which is just the first note in the next octave. And then finally we have the third, right? So once again, if we're playing E minor and we look at our scale, I'm playing E, G, B, right? I'm just playing those three notes, right? And it's a minor feel. So 1, 3, and 5, right? And the same goes for A, right? A, C, E, right? And there's our minor A chord. So I recommend, even if it's hard to understand or you don't understand it, or you do understand what I'm getting at, while you're looking into all this basic stuff of like posture, warm ups, tablature, um, hand placement, how you pick your scales, your basic scales, and then the chords that go along with them. right? You're also going to get exposed to intervallic theory, right? Just let it kind of soak in over time, right? Um, I think that's everything. Um, but yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Like really, I'm happy to answer anything. Right? I love music. It's one of my passions. But once again, right? Thanks for watching.